Grieving the loss of a loved one is a deeply personal and complex process that can be challenging to navigate. It's essential to recognize that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to grief, as individuals experience it differently. However, there are commonly accepted stages of grieving that can provide insight into the emotional journey one may go through after losing someone close. These stages, often referred to as the Kubler-Ross model, were initially introduced by psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in her book, On Death and Dying. They include denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. It's important to note that these stages are not necessarily linear, and individuals may move back and forth between them. 1. Denial. When someone first learns of the loss of a loved one, it's not uncommon to initially deny the reality of the situation. This can be a protective mechanism, allowing the individual to process the news gradually and come to terms with it at their own pace. Denial can manifest as disbelief or shock and may help buffer the immediate emotional impact of the loss. 2. Anger. As the shock of the loss begins to wear off, anger often emerges. This can take various forms, such as anger at the deceased for leaving, anger at oneself for perceived failings, or anger at the world for being unfair. Anger is a normal and healthy part of the grieving process, but it can be difficult to manage, leading to feelings of guilt. 3. Bargaining. In this stage, individuals may try to make deals with a higher power or even with themselves in an attempt to reverse or mitigate the loss. It's a way of trying to regain some sense of control over the situation. People may think, if only I had done this differently, maybe they would still be here. Bargaining often reflects feelings of guilt and regret. 4. Depression. Depression is a natural response to the profound sadness and emptiness that accompany grief. It's essential to distinguish between normal grief-related sadness and clinical depression, although the two can overlap. Grief-related depression can make everyday tasks feel overwhelming, and it may be accompanied by feelings of hopelessness and despair. 5. Acceptance. The final stage, acceptance, does not mean that the pain of the loss disappears entirely. Instead, it represents a gradual coming to terms with the reality of the situation. It's a point at which individuals begin to find ways to move forward with their lives, acknowledging that the loved one is gone but holding onto the positive memories and impact that person had. It's important to emphasize that these stages are not universal, and not everyone experiences all of them or experiences them in the same way. Some individuals may move through them more quickly, while others may linger in a particular stage for an extended period. Grieving is a unique and individual process, and it should not be rushed or judged. Moreover, it's important to note that some models of grief, such as the dual process model proposed by Margaret Strobe and Hank Schutt, emphasize the importance of oscillation between grief work, dealing with the emotional aspects of loss, and restoration-oriented activities, resuming normal life tasks. This highlights the dynamic and nonlinear nature of grief. In conclusion, the grieving process is a complex and deeply personal experience marked by various stages, including denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Understanding these stages can provide insight into the emotional journey of those who have lost a loved one. However, it's crucial to remember that grief is not a one-size-fits-all experience, and individuals may move through these stages at their own pace, in their own way, and with the support and understanding of those around them.